Hello.
Hello.
Allow me to very calmly say hello so as not to alert the dogs.
Not to alert the dogs that there are incoming strangers that they need to protect their domicile from.
Well, they're on high alert right now because our neighbors are having their house painted, and so there have been workers outside, which is obviously an outrage and a breach of trust.
Right.
So...
And they can see them on the other side of the wall because, if you've been to Vegas or if you've been to our home, you realize that properties are pretty close together. So, you can practically touch the neighbor's house on the other side of the wall. So, they're not thrilled with the workers painting the house at all.
Okay, so for anyone who's new, I don't know, I'm Katie. This is Vicky, aka Victoria, when she wants to be taken very seriously.
That's right.
Aka my wife. Because a name is really how you communicate to people that you need to be taken seriously.
Shut your mouth. Just shut it.
Anyway, welcome to our Sunday live show. And yes, we'll start right off the top. Kathleen wants to know about a pup date. For those of you who were at last week's show, little grizzly bear, little Griselda Brown, Silverberg as her name is. She had injured herself and it was this whole thing. And she's fine, you guys. She just injured the soft tissue around her hips and her legs. She's been on total lockdown for the last 8 days, 9 days, which she's not super happy about. We're keeping her pretty much separated from the other dogs, and where she can't jump up on stuff. And so she's been doing really well. And she also was diagnosed with, I don't know what they I guess pre-heart failure.
Enlarged heart.
But she's got a slightly enlarged heart on one side and a heart murmur, but it's totally normal for dogs her age. She's around, at the very youngest, she's 14. She could be 15 or 16. I don't know entirely because I got her 12 years ago. And they thought maybe she was 2, but they really didn't know. And so it's very normal for her to have these heart issues. And other than that, everything else is really healthy with her. No significant arthritis.
No, and she's not in heart failure. She just needs medication.
It's the beginning signs that eventually she'll go in that direction, like you do when you get old. She's basically, if she's 15, she's the equivalent of an 80-year-old. So it's very normal to be going on heart meds, and it just means she's going to take them for the rest of her life, and hopefully it's going to make her healthier and live longer and be happier. And so that's where she's at.
Yeah, she's doing okay. She's doing okay. So we've had our complete lockdown for the past 8 or 9 days. Today is the last day of lockdown because we are going to Phoenix tomorrow. We are going to be at eBay Open for the eBay Open Live on Tuesday night that they're doing in Phoenix. Us and Teresa, as you guys, some of you may know, Boss Reseller Remix, Boss, our brand with Teresa, has sponsored eBay Open this year. So we are actually, I don't know, we're big time, I think.
Oh, totally. Sure. Big time. Sure. So Naomi wants to know if there's any way for subtitles. I don't think for live shows you can, but I'm pretty sure when you watch the show after the fact, you can turn on the closed captioning, which is sometimes decent, but sometimes kind of wonky.
Well, it's AI, so.
Yeah, so, but as far as during a live show, no, unfortunately, not that I know of. But anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. It's good to see all of you here.
Jay, it's nice to see you in the chat live, as well as everyone else.
Jen wants to know about the weekly sales sheet. It's actually, if you're in the Boss Facebook group, just our regular Boss group, if you go down in our description of this show, it'll go down a little ways, you'll see the link to just our regular group. It is in the files in that group because Teresa's actually the one who created it for us, and you can get your own copy of it. We don't use it for actual record keeping or taxes or anything like that.
No, not accounting purposes.
It's literally just what we do to show you guys, and it's just kind of a cool way to kind of break down the week. But because we obviously don't have all of our costs and different things like that in there accounted for. But it is nice to kind of break it down and kind of get an idea of how things are going.
Yeah, I did see. So our friend Cheryl is hosting the local eBay kickoff party in Tampa. She runs the local meetup group in Tampa. She started that this year. I had a kickoff party last year. We had one at our home last year. We had about 40 people. It was a lot of fun. Obviously, we're not hosting one this year, so the Las Vegas meetup group is not having an eBay open party because I'm sorry, the hostesses are not going to be in town. So
yeah, well,
sorry about it.
We're basically getting up tomorrow, doing our weekend shipping, hitting the road, driving to Phoenix. So that's a good. I mean, it ends up being like a good 5-6 hours all in. Then we're going to get there. We're going to stay with Teresa at her new house.
Her new house that she just moved into this weekend. She spent the last 2 or 3 nights there. So,
and then Tuesday is like the in-person version of live. That's going to be in 4 different locations around the country. And then Wednesday morning, we're getting back on the road, driving home while Teresa holds down our virtual booth on the virtual version of it. And then as soon as we get home Thursday and Friday, we're going to be hanging out in that virtual booth for the remix.
So if you are attending eBay Open virtually, if you're going to be watching the sessions and you're going to be going into the meetup rooms and going into everything like that, come on in and see us in the Boss Vendor Room. As one of the sponsors, we're going to have one of the vendor rooms. So Jen, eBay Open is an annual eBay conference that is held online. It has been virtual only since 2019. And it is a virtual conference. It's free. It's free to attend. It's free to, you just have to sign up so they can send you the link. Just go to eBay's main page and there will be a link there. Unless one of our admins, if there are any admins in the chat, want to drop a link in there. I'm not sure that we have any in the chat right now.
Yeah. You can even Google eBay Open 2023 and you'll be able to find it.
Yep. So I've hosted networking rooms many times for eBay Open, as well as quarterly eBay, eBay online events that they do. It's super easy, guys. Don't worry about it. Don't get yourself nervous about it. It's going to be fine. I've probably hosted half a dozen of those rooms, and they're fun.
I see we're gonna see Kathleen on Tuesday night. Is anybody else in here?
Yay!
Is anybody else? Or wait, Kathleen. Yeah, is anybody else here going to be... Because we're going to be at the Phoenix one. And I see some people are going to be... Wait, isn't Kathleen in Oregon?
I know.
Is she talking about she's going to be at the Portland one, maybe?
I think she might be talking to Tommy, saying she'll see him Tuesday next.
I was going to say,
I'm pretty sure she's in Oregon.
I know, so I would assume she's going... Yeah, I'm probably getting it all mixed up. You're probably going to go... which Oregon doesn't have, they're not doing an in-person version. They're doing a kickoff. They're doing... kind of a party thing.
Right.
But it's at the eBay.
Kickoff party. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Liz, thank you for putting the link in there. It's just eBay Open / live, I think, whatever she put there.
Yeah.
eBay.com / open.
Simple enough.
Pretty easy. If you have the ability to attend a local meetup that's hosting any type of event or anything like that, I always encourage you to go meet your people locally, especially locally, because most of the time they're free or it's a very small, nominal fee to attend. Ours is free. I just choose not to charge. Some people charge $5 or $10 because they have to rent space or what have you, which totally makes sense.
Kathleen's coming up from Tucson. Okay, so we are seeing you on Tuesday. Awesome. Yeah. We're excited. We're really looking forward to it. So it's been a week. It's been super busy. We've been running around all over the place. We're just a few weeks out from the remix, trying to get our regular work done. I had my volunteer day at the law office. Last night we got to go out and have dinner with some of our friends. We were out with Carrie, American Arbitrage, and Dawn, and Sunny, and Mikey, and Super Court. Got to have some yummy food and then deal with all the crowds downtown.
Oof. This was Carrie. It was Carrie's idea, and we're grateful for the
thanks
invite.
a lot, Carrie.
No, we had fun, but it was a poor choice of day to go downtown. Right now, we had the iHeartRadio Festival is here in town in Las Vegas. That was being held at the T-Mobile Arena, which is not too far off Strip, but it's also Life is Beautiful Festival this weekend. Yeah. So that was right down in Fremont where we were. And Fremont on the weekends is always a little bit nuts anyway. And then last night, Dashboard Confessional was playing a free concert.
Well, and that's
on
why
Fremont.
Carrie wanted to go
Right,
down there.
right.
So she says poor choice of timing, but that was the whole reason he wanted to go down there. So
Right.
it actually turned out to be fine. But what happened is we had completely forgotten that was happening this weekend. And so we were like going down a little bit early so we could do a little playing some slots. And we, because of where we were going to be meeting up with them, parking at El Cortez was like the perfect place to park. But they were charging $50 to park when normally it's free, right? And we were like, we're in trouble.
Not paying $50.
Yeah, she was like,
let's go home.
Can you? I know you guys will find this shocking. Vicky was like, we just gotta go home. We're getting at it. And I'm like, okay, can you breathe for a second? Let's go try. There's a couple of different options. Let's go try Golden Gate. And somehow, miraculously, Golden Gate, even though they have a very tiny little parking lot for their valet, they still were accepting people and they weren't charging anything.
Exactly.
So it was perfect.
So I see Kathleen, she moved to Arizona from Whidbey Island. So she moved from Oregon to Tucson. But Kathleen, how did I not know that?
I know. I was feeling pretty proud of myself that I actually knew you were from the Pacific Northwest, because I'm terrible with details. But Vicky didn't even know, and I'm just going to go ahead and say she failed us all.
Yeah.
So
I'm usually the one that pays attention to those smaller things. About people, but yeah.
Anyway, we had a great time last night. Vicky lost all her money. I decided I was going to win all the money. I won like $300. It was awesome on my free slot play from Golden Nugget. So
the free slot play that you earned because I play under your card.
Yes. However, I would like to point out that we just had to go through doing our taxes last weekend, and it turns out that because we decided that we were going to get married 9 days before the end of the year, for the entire year we still have to file married but separate. We're doing separate because we keep our finances separate, but the fun part of that is, thanks to getting married to this one over here, I'm having to pay more than I should have so that she can save more. I can't even get into the details of it because it's all freaking complicated. I don't understand how any of it works. All I know,
when you basically, the bottom line is, when you file married filing separately, you either have to take a standard deduction, which you both have to take, or you have to take an itemized deductions, which you both have to take, and one can't do one or the other. You both have to choose the same way.
Yeah, and so we're going the way that's
times.
going to save her a few thousand, but it's going to cost me an extra $1,000. So I'm taking my free slot play, and I'm winning my $300, and there's nothing you can say about it, woman. Anyway, it's all the fun of business and taxes, and apparently we should have just never gotten married.
I guess
it was
not.
a huge mistake.
Horrible
It was a horrible mistake. Okay. Let's go ahead and get into our regular show. We break this up into 3 parts. The first part, we look at our real numbers for the last week, our gross numbers across all the platforms that we sell on, which I'm up to like 6 now. I don't know. Maybe I should be like putting all my Poshmark stuff onto Whatnot. I don't know if I want to take that on. Does anybody sell anything in the Whatnot stores now?
Not many. It's just an odd thing here and there. I've heard that the notifications are not great. So.
I don't know. Anyway, so we look at our real numbers. Middle of the part of the show, we look at our sales highlights for the last week. I think we have some really cool stuff to share with you guys this time around. Every single one of my sales is from a bins pickup, so I'm pretty stoked about that. And then the last part of our show, we look at what we were able to accomplish this last week, if we were able to fulfill our goals that we set at the last show. And then we also look at what we want to try and do this next week, what goals we want to set, and how we might be able to accomplish those. And hopefully you guys will join in with us on that part. It's always good to check in.
My biggest problem with that is I can never remember what my goal was the week before. I can't remember what I said my goal was.
That's not how goals work.
So I don't know if I attained my goal or not. I don't know. I guess we're going to find out.
You should be writing this down, and then you would know.
That's probably true.
Yeah,
I'm sure someone will remind me in the comments.
All right, let's go ahead and look at our numbers. I'm going to share the screen here.
Oh, Jay asked one question that you might answer.
Yes.
What kind of volunteer work do you do, Katy?
Oh, so as some of you know, we had gone through a lawsuit a few years back with another reseller, public figure, and it was really awful. We were sued, and we were very, very lucky to find an amazing team of lawyers that were fan-freaking-tastic, and they killed it for us. and it was a long drawn out 2+ year battle, but we won, and it was amazing. And so I just really like them a lot, and I like the kind of stuff that they do and the kind of work they do, and they do a lot of pro bono stuff. And so I said I want to volunteer because my background is in nonprofit stuff and in prisons and stuff like that. And so now I've been going in every other week, and I do work on pro bono cases. So far, it's been working on prisoner cases, actually, and about access to healthcare and things like that. And so I'm doing a lot of like research and like putting together like spreadsheets of discovery and blah, blah, blah. It's all pretty interesting and super rewarding, and I like it a lot. So that's what
Los Angeles Thrifter, that the person is a bully, allegedly. Actually, it's not alleged. It is verified and accurate and factual according to not only Nevada state law, but also Nevada Supreme Court law, where we set precedent.
That is true.
Regardless, we won't get into that here, but yeah.
So that's what I've been doing. Although I got to take a little break now because we're going into the remix and everything. So I'm not going to be able to go in for probably a good month or so. Anyway. All right, let's go ahead and look at the numbers here. My eBay's been kind of continuing to be, it's really close to what my numbers were last week, so it's kind of holding steady. I'm hoping I can bring those numbers up. But I had 21 eBay orders, 9 Etsy, 2 Poshmark. I haven't had any Etsy sales this weekend. I have nothing for Etsy so far. 4 between Grill Macari and Depop, nothing private, so a total of 36 outgoing orders. My eBay gross sales, $1,278.69. My Etsy, $590.92. My Poshmark, $90. And then I didn't have any Mercari sales, but my Grailed and Depop were $165. So my total gross sales, $2,124.61. I'd love to see that go higher. I'd love to see that hit 3,000 sometime in the near future. Shipping, $142.77. You can see the breakdown of fees there. My cost of goods pretty low because we've been doing lots of bins. My total net sales, $1,662.61, and you can see my gross average sale price, $59.02. I really want to hit that 60, but I really think anywhere between like 50 and 60 is really great. Obviously, higher is fantastic, but when I'm doing all of my sourcing,
see how you're
from
seeing
the bins,
your cost of goods is so low now. It looks like my cost of goods.
I know yours was worse than mine, actually.
It was,
and my net average sale price, $46.18. So
it's pretty good.
That's where I'm at. It's pretty good. I really want to see.
When your net ends up being way higher than it used to be, even though you may be selling less this year, that means that you've switched
my costs.
You've been able to control your cost of goods to be lower, and that's really ideally what we all want is profit margin, right? It doesn't really matter what your gross sales are; it matters what's in your pocket after all.
Well, and especially with the economy being the way it is, and the market, and just stuff being down overall. Like I said, you have to figure out what areas can you absolutely control, and one of those, if you switch things up, is your costs, like cost of goods. So, all right, let's look at your numbers.
Okay, so this is very close to last week's numbers, and again, anything over $3,000 for me for the week ends up being making me feel like I'm having a good week. So 36 eBay orders, 9 on Etsy, 12 on Poshmark, 8 on Mercari, no private orders this week for a total of 65 outgoing orders. I do like my eBay sales to be around the $2,500 to $3,000 mark weekly, but I'll take what I can get, right? So $1,771 and change on eBay, $581-ish on Etsy, $641 on Poshmark, $334 on Mercari, for a total gross sales of $3327.65. That's a pretty good week. Like I said, anything between $3,000 and $4,000 is actually a good week.
Yep.
$342 in shipping. I do sell things that are heavier than t-shirts and sweatshirts like Miss
How
Katy
dare you.
here. So my shipping costs are always higher. My cost of goods are actually a little higher than normal this week as well. Just under $200 for my cost of goods, but my total net is $23.49 for the week. My gross average sale price is right where I want it to be. It's $51.19. I like to keep it between $50 and $60. And then my net average sale price is $36 and change. So pretty good week.
Very nice.
Pretty good week.
Very nice.
I'm not going to complain about that one. I mean,
stop complaining.
I'll always find a reason to complain, let's be real. But better than it has been. I do feel like all of the hard work that I've been doing in the last quarter is starting to pay off again. So I'm feeling better about things.
Well, and you've been stressing out and stuff like that, but it's like I try to keep reminding you, and I know you know this, that it's like, yeah, we are seeing the results of the work we've been putting into it, but it's not going to magically make everything easier overnight, because you know our costs went up a lot this last year, our housing costs and our business costs and everything like that. And so, you know, we were living the good life for the few years before that, and so it's just a matter of like adjusting to that. And I think part of our issue is that we are adjusting to it took too long, and it's like we woke up this summer and we're like, oh, we need to figure this out. And it would have been nice if we would have done that earlier, but it is what it is. And I think that as far as our businesses go, I'm feeling really good about where the numbers are, and hopefully they're going to continue up, because
now that we're heading into
Q4, we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a little bit. But let's go ahead and look at our sales for this week. I think we both had some cool stuff. What'd you sell? What's this? You got your Juicy.
Yeah, so as some of you guys have known, we've talked about this before. We've talked about it in videos. I've talked about it. So Juicy Couture, Apple Bottom, Affliction, Ed Hardy, all of that stuff that was really popular late 90s, early Y2K is back, guys. And it hasn't even been a full fashion cycle of 20 or 25 years. In some cases, it's been like 10 or 12 years, right?
It's so weird.
So the fashion cycles are going faster, I feel like. But in any case, Juicy Couture, I know they sell it at Kohl's. It is not the newest Juicy Couture that has retained the value, but the older Juicy Couture, late 90s, early Y2K, which is basically the stuff that had the Juicy written across the butt, the velour sweatsuits, the hoodies and the wide leg kind of yoga pants. They would sit really low on the hips. It was always the cute little younger skinny girls that would wear those. I was already far too old and not of the body type that should have been wearing that when it was cool. But that type of thing is back. So what I wanted to show is that this sold for $79.95. I picked this up at the bins. I probably paid $2 for it. This is not even an exciting Juicy Couture. Honestly, it looks
You're
like
saying it's not juicy.
It's a, well, I mean, now that I'm going to say it looks like baby poop color. Like now you're saying it's juicy, but it's boring, right? I mean, this is just a boring, basic velour Juicy Couture hoodie. It is an extra large, so the larger size, I'm sure, had something to do with it. But if you even show the other photos, there is nothing. There's no ornamentation on this. There's no bling. There's nothing written across the back. There's nothing. Super boring.
Yeah.
And it's still sold for $80 plus shipping. So do not skip on the vintage Juicy Couture stuff.
The whole fashion thing, like, when's the last time we actually had like a new iteration or a new time of fashion? Would you say Y2K? Because now it's just like recycling.
I think 90s and
90s
Y2K fashion are both very similar. I mean, the 90s grunge thing was very different than Y2K, but 90s fashion into Y2K fashion stayed very similar.
Yeah.
As far as like, baby doll tops and for women, and like little strappy tank tops and wider sized, like tight and short stuff on the top, and then big baggy stuff on the bottom.
Because I remember like in the 90s, there was some stuff that was being recycled. Like there was like people dressing like hippies. There were people, like the stoners would totally dress like hippies. We had like the punk kids and stuff like that. But then you had the new stuff like the J.Crew jeans, like that kind of fashion had never happened before. That was a whole new thing, this whole wide leg jeans or whatever. And I just wonder, like, are we ever going to have another completely new type of fashion, or is it from now on just going to be recycling?
Who knows? I mean, it's kind of like movies and TV, right? Everything's a recycle of everything else at this point.
Yeah.
So
like it's so
nobody
weird, like,
has any original
30
ideas.
years from now, somebody's going to make a movie that's set in like 2022, and everybody's going to be dressed like 90s. Like that's just weird.
I don't know. It's just odd. So someone asked in the chat there, Anna asked, is YouTube income worth the effort? Some people that do YouTube and are very successful make incredible amounts of money on YouTube. I know people making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month regularly on YouTube. That would not be us.
No.
For what we do, absolutely not. We don't do it for the money because there is none. Well, I mean, $100, $150 a month.
If
for
you
what
wanna,
we do, it's not worth my time.
Ours has actually gone up lately. Well, I'm the one that puts in most of like the actual work as far as like because I have to edit it and put stuff up and do all that kind of thing, and I've had to like make changes to how I do things so it doesn't take up too much time, because I'm not willing to make this like a full-time job, and neither one of us are. And Vicky's doesn't have she's not a techie person to be.
No, I don't have the editing skills whatsoever.
And she wouldn't, she'd quit in a week anyway if she tried to do
Absolutely.
it. And so, like our last payout was $180, which is up, like, and that's just because we've been doing a lot more content. So
we are not content creators. That's not what we are. We're resellers, and really we do content creation to stay connected with the community. And because we enjoy teaching,
we'd love to be able to make more from it. Don't get me wrong, but we're not willing.
We're not willing to do the work
It's a full-time job on its own. So, and yeah, like Vicky says, like for me, my identity and like where I find the most joy is in reselling. I really enjoy it. Okay, so let's go to my first one.
Maybe it's more exciting. Oh, that's mine. That's happened? Mine too. I guess I get to show too.
I forgot. Oh, it's because I forgot to, hold on. I can do it. I forgot to switch them back and forth.
Rude.
All right, so I have a lot of items where I'm actually, it's more about like education or like, oh, this is really crazy. So this shirt is so ridiculous. It's like somebody handmade it. It's a crop top t-shirt. I got this when Ryan and Allie were here, and I thought it was so funny and so stupid that I got it, because again, when you're at the bins, everything is so cheap. It's like, who cares? But it's literally like the glitter paint. Like
Boot, Scoot, and Boogie, a little Brooks and Dunn there.
It's so awful. And
that's really bad.
And then like the collar's like a little bit pink. And I was like, why am I buying this? This is so stupid. And you can see there's like a hole right there. But I couldn't pass it up because it's so freaking dumb, and I was going to pay less than $1 for it. You guys, I sold it. Somebody offered $25, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get it out of here as soon as possible. It was listed for like a week and a half. I'm like, this has got to be the dumbest like bins pickup ever. And I'm like, I don't want to regret it and have it sitting in a bin forever. So $25 out of like less than $1.
That's really dumb.
I know. And I know there's sellers out there that like, they're like average, price that they get for stuff is like $20, $25. I'm like, okay.
I would not have picked that up.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, you go.
Oh, now we get to show what you teased over here. So This is what part of the reason why my cost was up a little bit. I actually bought these in a buy-sell group about 3 weeks ago. I paid $24 delivered. I knew I would sell them for $100 to $125, and I did. And they were listed for about a week, and they sold for $97 and change. I think I even showed them in a haul.
I think you showed them, really recently.
Yeah, they're ridiculous,
so
right?
So ugly.
So ridiculous. So, but honestly, they're so sporty spice, right?
Sure.
Like, they look to me very much like I could see sporty spice in these, and someone wearing some knee-high athletic socks and some booty shorts. Like, that's the look. But God,
Lori's right. Hideous.
They really are hideous. She just wanted to hear you say that. They are pretty bad.
Oh
but
my God.
They sold.
Yeah, fast.
And they sold fast.
Fast.
And were really lightweight. And I couldn't walk in those either, honestly, Michelle. I used to wear high heels all the time, and never anymore. But yeah, I thought that was pretty fast that they sold. So I'm pretty happy to take $24, take a few photos, and flip it in the same week for almost $100.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Sorry, I didn't set this up right. These are all wonky all over the place. All right, so another one. This shirt, it had like schmutz on it, and I was like, oh, I'll be able to wash this out. And then it turned out it was like it looked like it's like caulk or something like that, because it wouldn't, even though I washed it, I couldn't get it off. You can see it's like stuck on there.
That looks gross.
Whatever. Anyway, and so when I had tried to get it off and it didn't come off, I was like, ugh, I shouldn't have even bought this, whatever. I had it listed for like maybe a day, and I had multiple offers, and then somebody offered $30, and I was like, okay. Like, it was literally listed for maybe 48 hours.
Multiple offers?
Yes.
Was this a famous...
It's just some grill at the
bar.
It's been there for a long time, but still, it's like, it's such a bore. It's not even like a cool looking t-shirt. But I got $30 for it.
Here, let me do an entire show of ugly shit that I should not have picked up that I sold anyway.
That I sold quickly. How dare you?
That's what we're doing right now, apparently.
Well, I'm just trying to show like the value. It's funny because I'll get messages sometimes, especially now that I'm on Poshmark, and I'll get messages on eBay where people, it's like they get so angry and will be like, oh, you asking for $70 for that? Like I'm an idiot. And I just, honestly, guys, I don't bother responding. I know Vicky would probably compelled to send like a whole paragraph.
Oh yeah, I was today. I was just gonna say I got one today.
Which is such a waste of your time.
I have a sweater. I have a sweater that I actually already sold, but is somehow listed as available on Mercari. So I'm glad the person messaged me because I caught it and was able to take it down. But it was a sweater I had listed for $129, which is exactly what I sold it for within like a week of listing it on eBay months ago.
Yeah.
And they were like, why is this so expensive? This is like a $25 item. And I was like, oh, well, actually, thank you for alerting me that this is still listed because it shouldn't be. It sold at that ridiculous price months ago on another platform. Bye. You know, I just like I am petty. Table for one, please. Like, that's me, for sure.
I don't bother because I don't feel like it ever actually achieves any kind of goal.
Oh, it makes me feel good.
Yeah, they're in their own mindset. But anyway, it just shows that, the stuff has value. You should find the right people. And the person who's going off about me having a different t-shirt price at $70, it's like, I'm not going to respond to it, but it's like, okay, that's my top price. Like, there's offers, and a lot of times stuff does sell on other platforms.
Yeah.
So, anywho, all right. Sorry, I gotta switch back and forth here. What do you got?
This is just a basic. I sell every one of these that I ever find, right? So most of them I will find in the bins, right? So every time I can find a burgundy, this burgundy maroon rust color.
Yeah, it's a nice color.
70s jacket. They're very Donnie Brasco type of thing. This is a women's jacket. Men's or women's, they always sell, and they always sell pretty fast. So this is one that I picked up like not very long ago. This was actually listed by my previous lister. I can tell by the photos. So I've had it listed for maybe 4 or 5 weeks, and it sold for the sale price you see there, $97. They are a little bit heavier. This one actually was even missing the zip out inner lining, which was probably one of that old black. It looks shaggy, almost furry. And I noted that in the description. Those linings are pretty gross and acrylic-y anyway, but it sold for $97, and I'd probably paid $7 or $8 based on weight for it. So I mean, always pick those up was what my bottom line. When you find this type of vintage leather jacket, men's or women's, that 3/4 length, they always sell well.
They're very nice, very nice. All right.
Oh, Jill, don't censor yourself, my friend. It's okay. It's all right. All the people that say it's just business or whatever, or they say, you should respond responsibly all the time, or the customer is always right and you should just bend over and do this and that. No, I'm sorry. I don't play that game. The customer is not always right. And the reality is that a lot of customers are douchebags lately, and I'm not going to stand for it.
Well,
if you wouldn't talk to your mother or your grandmother the way that you talk to people behind your computer, then you should not be talking to them. And I would say that stuff.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. For me, it has nothing to do with, like, the customer's always right or being professional or anything like that. To me, I'm far more calculated, because to me, the person who's going to reach out to you to send you a shitty message about what your stuff's priced and telling you how it's not worth anything, to me, they're looking for a fight. And so if I give them a fight back, or if I in any way respond in a snarky way, I'm letting them know they got under my skin, and I don't want to let them know that. I don't want to let them know that they won in any way. So by ignoring them, it probably makes them more angry, and I take great satisfaction in knowing that, and that makes me feel good. So really, it's more about me being a more calculated dick. Whereas Vicky, she thinks she's going to tell them and she's going to put them in their place, when really they're just like, oh yeah, I just got her to like lose her shit. And I'm just saying.
Lori, menopause has made me mean. I think I was already mean, but I don't know. Who knows?
But really, guys, she is the nicer one of the two of us. That's the actual reality.
That's scary, but true.
It is very, very true. Vicky's just the more emotionally responsive one. Okay. Let me go back to sharing my screen. Okay. Next up. So the reason I'm showing this t-shirt, this is one I picked up. Again, every single thing I'm showing you guys of my finds, every single one I found at the bins.
Why did you not keep this one?
Because
it's your favorite band.
It's from a festival, and it's got like a whole bunch of bands on it. Because I don't really like the style of the shirt, like the graphics. So it's like I didn't want to keep it. Plus, it was too small for me. Anyway, this not vintage. It's just from a 2015 festival. I think this festival only happened 2 years. And I didn't really know anything about it, but it's got a lot of great bands on it that
a lot of those that you love, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of bands that I love. So it's actually like a really cool shirt. When I had looked it up, there weren't any of this shirt anywhere. And so it's not that I thought it was worth like $1 bazillion, but it's definitely one that, if somebody out there wants it, they're not going to be able to find it. So I have potentially one of the only ones. And so I just priced it what I priced it there. And at some point, I think either I sent an offer out or they sent an offer out. But I sold it for $40 for a 2015 shirt. It's not vintage. To me, like $40, I paid $1 for the t-shirt. So, there's reasons to pick up certain things that aren't vintage. And it doesn't mean that they're only worth like $10, like a lot of like crappy current t-shirts are. You just have to kind of understand like why would something potentially have more value than like a $15 t-shirt you could get at Walmart. But there weren't like 40 of these listed. So whoops. Anyway, go back to you. What you got?
Okay, so these I did show in a haul as well. I picked these up at the bins. They are Doc Martens. They are the very heavy Doc Martens. They are the made in England Doc Martens, which are the better quality and more desirable Doc Martens. But you can see they have some creasing on the toes, like right there. They're broken in. They weren't broken, but they were broken in, and at least on the toes. In general, though, Doc Martens, the more broken in they are, it's almost like you can get more money for them. People like them comfortable and broken in because they're pretty stiff at first.
Yeah.
And these were a good size, and the wingtip Oxfords are harder to find. You just don't find them as frequently. So because they're heavy, Doc Martens are heavy. I probably paid $8 for them, between $7 and $8, because they weigh around 4 pounds. But these were also listed for less than a week.
And they're made in England, which they not
which I already said, yeah. So I paid $7 or $8. They were listed about a week, and I was pretty happy to sell them. They rolled into my sale, and as soon as they rolled into the sale, which was like a couple of days after I had listed them, they sold. So $97 plus shipping.
Nice.
The buyer actually happened to live in Oregon, which was nice because I didn't overcharge for shipping. In fact, that $8.55 is my set priority rate, and on shoes like these, they would have cost me about $15 to ship if they were on the East Coast because of the weight and everything. So I did not pay over what they paid, which made it even nicer.
There you go. All right, next up for me, guys, do you guys remember this shirt? So this is the shirt that it was so absolutely disgusting. It wasn't even yellow, it was brown, and it was so stinky that I had to go get a plastic bag from the cash register just to put the shirt into it. I tied it up as tight as I could because I'm like, I cannot let the smell of the shirt permeate the car or the house. It was so disgusting. But I was like, if I can get this clean, this is a really cool shirt. It's 1988 Chili's Christmas t-shirt. And I'm like, I just want to rescue it. I want to rescue it, guys. And so I washed it with vinegar first, and then I did my whole bleach thing, and then it got washed again, and it came out looking pretty fantastic. And it sold within a month.
Who is wearing this?
Maybe somebody who manages a Chili's or something. I don't know, or works for Chili's.
Who is wearing a Chili's shirt? First of all, a Chili's shirt of any kind. But who is wearing a Chili's Christmas shirt dated 1988?
I love it. Look at it.
Every time you sell these really weird things, I'm always like, I have no idea.
Would you have bought this?
No.
See, and I was excited to find it, though it was beyond disgusting.
I would not have bought that. I would have been disgusting. Like, what is this garbage? No.
See, and then she'll grab stuff where she's like, hey, do you want this? And I'll be like, no. And she looks real sad because I rejected whatever what she was giving me. But this, I would have killed you if you found it and threw it back. Anyway.
I don't understand it.
It sold for the price you see there, $69.99. Somebody paid $70 for it.
Someone paid $70 for an ugly vintage Christmas shirt that has
love it.
A very horrible chain restaurant listed.
But what if you worked at a Chili's and you managed a Chili's and you just liked vintage and
I'm sorry for you.
I don't see why. It's a perfectly respectable job. Come on, you like Chili's, so
I'm sorry. Well, because I like horrible chain restaurants. There's a couple of them I like.
But if you were somebody who actually worked for Chili's, maybe you would think it'd be a cool thing to pick up.
No.
All right.
No.
I think it's cool. Anyway, $70, you guys.
Ridiculous.
You're ridiculous. All right, next up for you.
This is a bins find. I've actually found this brand of clothing 3 or 4 different times at the bins. I did not have this listed very long. This was listed for maybe a month or 2 max. And every time I find this brand at the bins, I'm actually sorry, this was probably listed more than a month or 2. I want to say this one's probably maybe 6 months old. Anyway, I'm actually, I always find it to be shocking that this is left behind in the bins because this is a very hot brand, the Comme des Garçons.
And the t-shirt bros should know.
The t-shirt bros should know. And it is one of those things that it's very distinctive just because of the heart and the eyeballs.
Yep.
And they'll have that on the t-shirts, on polo shirts, on sweaters, on hoodies, things
Yesterday's
like that.
Fits has like a bunch of their stuff.
Yeah, and I find it, I mean, like I said, 3 or 4 times in the last couple of years at the bins, in really picked over bins that nobody seems to know what it is.
Yeah.
There's no tag. I can't show you a tag. Whoever owned this shirt had cut the tag out previously. But I just Google it if you want to see. It's not even anything special as a tag. But their retail prices are very high.
Yeah.
So the fact that this is, you know, a nice little women's cardigan sweater with just the logo, I was pretty happy to sell it for that price. It was listed for a little bit, but yeah, I mean, $12.
The t-shirts sell for at least like $100, just a plain t-shirt that's got the heart there. So I mean,
this was women's and it was small and it was a cardigan. The polo shirts I sell for over $100.
Yeah.
The men's shirts and the men's clothing by this brand does sell better, but I mean, $112 from a $2 bins find is pretty darn good.
Yep. All right, guys, all the talk about Ed Hardy and Juicy and all that stuff. And here we are, South Pole jeans. This was something I had found a pair of this pair at the bins, and I went to look it up because I'm like, okay, I know like the style's coming back in. What's going to be the deal now with South Pole? And the sell-through rate was insane. I was like, what is happening right now? So I
thought they still sold South. Remember, like South Pole was like a JCPenney brand, right?
Yeah.
Like
they might still sell it, but then there's the stuff that's like from when it was actually like super popular.
So I'm guessing like Roca wear is coming back now. I don't even know. This is crazy to me.
And the thing is, so the sell-through rate is ridiculous for South Pole jeans. And, you know, a lot of the stuff that goes super fast, like these did take a little while to sell because...
Not long, couple months.
But they probably... The thing is, they're super plain. Like a lot of the ones that have sold, you'll see them, they're the ones that have like a ton of embroidery on the back pocket or the legs or whatever.
It's time to pick those up again.
And these are very basic, just black baggy jeans. But I sold them for the price you see there, $97.99, and they're going to Canada, which, by the way, I hadn't had any international sales on eBay in forever, and I actually had 2 sales this week to Canada. And so these are going to Canada, so they paid $97.99, plus they paid for shipping, so it's so freaking awesome. But seriously, yeah.
Oh yeah, No Fear has never really stopped being.
Yeah, No Fear's continue. I'm excited about that because I like the No Fear stuff. I love and I've seen some of the high school kids wearing No Fear t-shirts, and that warms my heart. I don't know about some of the rest of the stuff, but the No Fear stuff I'm down for. But seriously, South Pole, if you see South Pole jeans at least, definitely pick them up. I don't know about the
3 years ago, I would have said South Pole is a skip. Absolutely past 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So like
100%.
Right now, if you find it, I guess, if you find South Pole jeans, especially a wide leg or a baggy leg, pick them up.
Yep.
Clearly pick them up.
Seriously. Yeah, I paid like what, maybe $4 because they do weigh a little bit more. All right. Next up for you.
This I actually picked up on my Colorado trip back in October of last year. Actually, no. You came with me to that, right? October of last year?
Yeah.
So it was January.
Okay.
I grabbed this in January of this year when I went to Colorado and did a huge sourcing trip. I found, for whatever reason, I kept finding these Irish cardigan sweaters. And I think I purchased like 6 or 7 of them. And I'm down to like my last 1 or 2. And this is one of them. And but I did buy this at the Arc. I did not get this at the bins. So I think I paid either $10 or $12 for it. Either way, $10 or $12, and it sold for $135, and I'm perfectly happy to let it go
They can be slow movers, but you get good prices for the Irish wool sweaters.
And go down to the tag and show the tag what we mean by Irish wool. It's always going to, there are different brands, many different brands. It's always going to say Aran. Aran wool is the type of Irish wool. It's no different. It just, I mean, Irish sheep versus American sheep, whatever. But they're almost always hand crafted, hand loomed, and that type of thing. They're really, really made well, and you always have to dry clean them. Please do not throw this in a washing machine. Do not try to wash it by hand. Even this definitely has to go to dry clean because it does shrink. The wool does shrink. And it's just really, it's a quality piece of clothing that people will wear for a very long time to come. That's the major difference.
My favorite is finding the cardigans, but like the ones that like with the leather wrap buttons, like the old school cardigans. Oh, I love them. But yeah, they can take a little while. But
and when it's a pullover, right?
Some real
when
money.
It's a pullover and not the button front, you're going to call it a fisherman sweater. The pullover one's a fisherman sweater.
Yes. Anyway. All right. Next up, guys, I've been threatening to do this, and it looks like I've succeeded. I'm bringing back Echo Unlimited single-handedly. Okay.
God,
last week I shared the Weekend Warrior, the Native American one that I had that I sold. I did sell that for a little bit of a lower price, just because there were other ones out there. I sold it on Mercari, I think. But this one, guys, look at it. Look at it. I sold it for freaking $139.99. I sold it for full sale price. Okay? I mean, this thing was really, really nice condition. And I will say, the Echo Unlimited sweatshirts are really good quality. They're like heavy. They're super nice.
They are well made. I mean, God, here we go again. South Pole, Echo, Roca Wear, LRG, I'm assuming, is another one coming back. But
I don't know about the LRG.
I hate that whole style. I hate the style is really what it's
I don't know about
if
the LRG was like as like popular enough. But
see, Los Angeles Thrifter, Echo, South Pole, Ed Hardy, Juicy. What is happening?
I know what is happening. Oh. But guys, I picked this up, and I remember saying to Vicky at the bins, I'm like, should I get this? And she told me no. And then this is something that happens quite a bit, and believe me, plenty of times, like I keep grabbing like the kids stuff, and she tells me not to get it, and I do it anyway. She's often correct in telling me not to get stuff, but I remember picking this up, and I said to her, should I get this? Is it going to come back? And she said, don't get it. And then I
already have a couple that are just sitting there.
And then I said, I'm getting it anyway. I don't care. And she kind of rolled her eyes at me, but guys, I sold it. So that's both of my Echo Unlimited sweatshirts that I've sold now.
Yeah, all of you guys that are watching right now, I do know the majority of our followers are our age, or some are a little bit older. We know what our demographics are. Some of you are younger and you may not have this issue, but like Kathy, like she's saying right there, if you have kids that are grown adults, you better contact them and get their clothes from the 90s if they still have them somewhere, or go in your attic if you have any there that your kids put away that have recently moved out or have just started their own families and stuff at this point. My daughter's 30 years old. The problem is that she was a little bit too young, so that a lot of the clothing like that we're seeing here coming back was so tiny. She was like kid size still.
Yeah.
But seriously? Yeah. Oh, J.Crew jeans have always been hot, for sure. J.Crew hasn't really, as long as I've been selling, J.Crew jeans have been a hot seller.
Well, I said on the video that we put out yesterday, I said how the high school kid had pulled it right under my nose. He didn't steal it from me. I didn't see it. But he saw it first, a garbage bag that he opened up, and it was full of Ed Hardy. And then I overheard him talking to his buddy, and he said, "Man, now I just need to find a bag of J.Crew stuff." And he was also wearing J.Crew shorts while he was saying this. So, and these kids were losing their ever-loving minds over him finding all that Ed Hardy. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
I don't know.
I will say the nice thing about, the one good thing about having those kids be at the bins is it's definitely helping me to see
fashion trends.
What is actually really popular right now.
The guys and the girls, for sure. Because there's 100%. Some young girls. They come on, it's the cutest thing, actually. They come a lot on Saturday mornings, and I swear they're like dates. Because the boyfriends and girlfriends, they're like 15. You know, they'll be standing there waiting for the bins to change, and they're holding hands. Yeah. And it's like, I'm like, yeah, Lori, I think I would have liked a date like that when I was younger.
He did definitely yoink it, but completely fairly. It was like I was telling Vicky, and she was like, did he pull it out from in front of you? And I said, no, he was on his side of the bin, but it was the bin I was looking in. And had I been paying enough attention, I had got there first, like, it could have been my find. So it was kind of one of those things where you're like, you realize the opportunity you missed, and you just or like in your head grumbling
ruined
about
your
it.
life.
But it was a score for him. So, you know, and honestly, the Ed Hardy stuff, it's hot right now, but it's not hot to the point. It's not like this. I sold this for $140. You're not selling those Ed Hardys for $140.
No, but
each.
$50 easy.
Yeah. So I think probably for him it was a more exciting find than it would have been for me. I would have been stoked about it, but he was like really excited about it. So it was kind of fun to see.
Well, I feel like I'm in a Paris Hilton, Britney Spears time capsule, dude. Seriously, that's really what it is right now.
Oh,
yeah.
Please, can we please just listen? Can we please just not bring back the visible thong? I can't do it. Like the low.
Were you not at the same festival I was at?
But
last
it was
night?
not to that degree. I saw, but I'm talking about the low pants, and then you see like their thong coming out of the
whale
back of it.
tail.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you.
I never liked
last
that.
night at the festival. Life is Beautiful festival. We weren't there. We were just adjacent to it, so we had a lot
All
of
the same people were out
all the
and
same
about.
people are out and about. I will tell you, I saw far more of those low slung pants with the thong hanging out than I have seen in 20 years.
I saw a lot of the.
See, Crystal says too late. It's already back. It is. It is.
I saw a lot. To me, it's more about like it just doesn't look comfortable. So because it doesn't look comfortable, I don't think it's very attractive personally, and I never have. But one thing I did notice was a lot of the what do you call it?
Mesh.
The mesh. A lot of mesh. So if you find any
mesh dresses, see-through dresses,
so much mesh.
Lots of see-through and mesh in every size, shape imaginable. And then they'll wear like bikini tops or like bralettes.
Like we'd see like groups of girls, and every single one of them would have the black
some
mesh
type
on.
of sheer thing on.
Yes. All right, let's go to your next one. What do you got here? Ooh, Cheryl, look out.
I sold a blanket. So San Marcos, I do talk about these all the time. The brighter colors are always worth more than others that are not. So I will, I always pick them up. I can't remember where I picked this one up exactly. It was probably at our bins here in Vegas. It wasn't listed too long, a few months or so. And it sold for the price you see there. So I probably paid $7 or $8 for this because it is big and it's heavy. It sold for $97 and change. And then I shipped it and I charged $14.95 shipping. So yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Crystal, why? You can buy fake. That'd be like the dumbest thing I've ever heard. A fake. You can buy a fake thong that sits on your hips and is not actual. Like, what's even why? That's got to be the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You might as well just wear the thong at that point.
That's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, Jen, I 100% am on board with the finding the garbage bags. The thing is, I didn't even see it. It was underneath clothes. So had I seen a city, 100% I would have gone for that because then it's a direct donation and who knows what could be in there. So that's why I was like, when he pulled it out, I was like, before he even opened it, I was like, oh man, like what's going to be in there?
Yep.
And I was real sad about it. But,
yeah, velour tracksuits are back. Juicy velour tracksuits, BB velour tracksuits. Yep, they're back. It's back.
Lori wants to know if you can tell what you were looking for in the retail arbitrage yet. Yeah, it was just the
skeleton things.
The skeleton pillows that they have at Home Goods.
Mm-hmm. They went TikTok viral last year, and then there were some releases this year that came out. It was basically same-sex skeleton pillows. It was pillows that...
it was like male grooms.
Male grooms in suits, and then they also had... 2 female ones
in like wedding dresses.
It was pretty cool. I only found a couple of them, but I did already sell them. Mm-hmm. Anyway, when you could pick them up, you could get them for about $15, and they were selling for $75 to $100 for a pillow.
Yeah. But we went to all of the stores and only found a couple, and then Vicky gave up. I was ready to keep because I even went and asked the guy that was there. And he was giving me all the scoop because when I started talking to him, I realized because he was like, "Oh, I have that pillow at home," and so I'm like, "Okay, fellow gay here," and so he was giving me all the inside dirt about like what days they get their shipments and stuff, so what days would be good to come in. And we have a Home Goods. There's like 4 or 5 of them throughout Vegas, but we have one that's right where we go to get our coffee from Dutch Bros. And so I was ready to like go check it out every time we went through there, but Vicky already like had decided that she didn't care anymore. that's how the retail.
No, and I
thing,
had a bunch of
arbitrage works for her.
I had a bunch of towels and things too, and I have sold a few of those, and I sold the pillows. So yeah, international mail, yeah, kind of like international mail stuff, but I mean male and female stuff. But I know what brand you're talking about specifically.
Yep.
Anything international mail actually sells really well. It still does have quite a large gay male following. That was a catalog, a home shopping catalog that was targeted to gay men as far as the style and the fashion and a lot of things they sold. So it was really big in the 80s and early 90s, and it actually still has quite a big following because as the population ages, again, like everyone else, nostalgia speaks. So yeah, definitely stuff that you wanna pick up when you find it, for sure.
And we're definitely eating up time here, but we've got so much good stuff to show and
know,
talk about.
sorry.
It's good. It's all right. All right, guys. Another bins find. This J.Crew kind of chore jacket, 80s. You can see all like the different keywords I have kind of packed into that title: chore jacket, barn, ranch coat, workwear, oversized. But this is just a cool jacket. It's actually relatively lightweight, so maybe I paid $3 tops for it. And it sold for the price you see there, $139.99.
Nice.
So it cost me a few bucks. Look at those buttons. I love these buttons. I think they're really cool looking. And you can see the inside is
Cool
plaid.
Yep.
It's got that old school J.Crew tag. And I was really excited when I found it. And
That's a good J.Crew tag, by the way.
It is. And so yeah, sold it for $140. I mean, I've had this listed for maybe a month or so. So it really didn't take that long to sell. It's crazy. Like this bin stuff I feel like has been selling fast. A lot of it. Makes me very, very happy. But yeah, J.Crew, vintage J.Crew is the way to go. All right, next up for you.
So I did show this in a haul quite a while ago, and this was something that I felt was a huge score that I picked up at the bins. This is actually practically child sized, right? If this were an adult, larger size sweater, this was made in Hong Kong, vintage 80s. Look at that old 80s Polo tag on it. And this with the American flag graphic on the front is a huge, huge collectible sweater. If this were a larger size or if it were men's size, I would have gotten $300 or $400 for it. In this case, I only paid 75 cents because it was smaller. I marketed this as an extra small. It says small on it. Definitely extra small, if not smaller than that. I put the measurements in the description and everything, so it's not, and it's already been paid for and the money's been released, so it is what it is. No returns. But I took an offer for $70 and I was perfectly happy selling a child's item for $70. It was nice. Just, like I said, keep an eye out for that specific logo, that specific American flag. It's in these heavyweight vintage polo sweaters. If you look up American flag vintage polo sweater, you'll see you can get $300 and change for them.
Very nice. All right, next up for me. Hey, remember this cute little short sleeve sweatshirt? So I actually found this, I think I found this when we were with the Roots at the bins, and I just had to grab this. I love this color. I love this kind of gross avocado green color from the 60s and 70s, and I really like these
This
old
is very
school,
Greg Brady.
Yeah, these old school short sleeves sweatshirts. I always call them surfer sweatshirt. This kind of, short sleeve. So you still have it's a sweatshirt, but it's for a little warmer weather. And it's this old Towncraft J.C. Penney's shirt, and I love it. And I sold it. It was only listed for a few weeks, maybe, and I sold it for $62.99 on Etsy. But would you tell me to wrap it up?
No, I'm saying that we need to go a little faster because we have to get to our goals and stuff too. So
all right, we'll get to it. We'll just go over a little bit. It's okay. Anyway, $62.99. I love the short sleeve sweatshirts. Another little tip, by the way, if you ever find a vintage sweatshirt and maybe it's got stains on the sleeve, but the body is fine, I have cut sleeves off of sweatshirts before, and then I can sell them without having stained flaws because some people like the short sleeve look. So anyway, all right, next up for you, what you got?
So this was a brand that was new to me, by the way. This was just a basic 90s Y2K Hawaiian type of dress, rayon dress that has that buttons up the front, which was very much
really change pictures.
Okay, sorry. It was very much a 90s style to it, and I just picked it up thinking I was going to list it for $30 or $40, but then I actually for some reason looked up the brand, and this particular brand, don't ask me to pronounce it, I am not Hawaiian, so I will slaughter it, and not in a good way, but this particular brand for whatever reason is kind of a high-end seller, so I did yeah, you can't change the sorry. I had it listed for, a week maybe, not very long at all. And you can see there was a person that asked me a question about it and asked the measurement. And not 2 minutes after she asked the measurement, someone bought it full price.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very small. All right, next up for me is this satin bomber jacket. I sold a few weeks ago, I sold the vest. So I had bought this jacket, a vest with the same emblem on it, and then I had 2 other jackets that are from the Alaska Railroad thing. So that means I've sold 2 of the 4 items I got, and other people saw this and they just kind of passed it over because they think like this stuff isn't worth picking up. I like all the railroad theme stuff. There are people who collect anything that has to do with trains, and so I'm always going to pick that stuff up. This cost me, it wasn't too heavy, so maybe it cost me like $3, and I sold it for $62.99. So
very quickly.
I like really specific themed items. I think that you're always going to have people who are interested in kind of weird, wonky stuff like that.
Okay, so I'm actually just happy this one finally sold. I've had this in my inventory for a long time. Generally, vintage Decente stuff sells very well and very quickly, but for whatever reason, I've actually had this one in my inventory for quite a while now. I want to say probably over a year. I don't have that much money into it. I know this was a bins buy, so I probably paid $4 or $5 for it. So at this point, any reasonable offers are not getting refused because we're just trying to turn inventory. And I have so much inventory right now. I have about 5,000 items listed. And even though I may have the space to do so, it is actually getting real tight and really harder and harder to find things when they do sell. So I'm trying to just clear stuff out and maybe not hold on so preciously for the higher prices.
Yeah.
It's not even season yet, so I probably would have sold this for more money if I waited until the winter, but I was fine. I took $100 for it. Easy to ship, obviously, when anything sells on the old Poshmark, so... 5 into 100, even though it took a while, I'm good with that.
There you go. All right, next up for me, now this isn't like a crazy sale. This is actually from Depop, but Depop's having problems today. The site was down. It wasn't letting me look at anything on there. And so, but I sold this on Depop for $30, like the day after I listed it. And the reason I wanted to show this is I saw there was something Casey had posted in his group, and there was a guy who was being a jerk, and, I don't know, he was talking about how oversaturated, like how stupid it was basically to sell anything Tommy Bahama because it's an oversaturated category. I have bought and flipped 5 Tommy Bahama shirts now, none of which are vintage. Some silk, some cotton that I've gotten at the bins. Every single one of them sells within probably like a week or so of me listing it.
I am not having the same experience, by the way, but I'm glad that you are.
Yeah, and this one I was even like, should I even get this? It's plain, doesn't have a pattern on it. It's got kind of a texture to it, but it's just a pretty plain shirt. I sold it for $30 on Depop, you guys, and I paid $1 for it. So I don't know what's going on with Hawaiian shirts, but they're selling for me anyway. And I'm sorry, yours aren't selling at all. How many do you have?
Like
of
10.
Tommy Bahama?
Like 10.
Or just Tommy Bahama specifically?
Yeah. Tommy Bahama silk. I got them.
Why don't you go ahead and end them all and do sell similar and see what happens?
They've only been listed like 3 weeks, Katie.
Okay, then you're a horrible person that can't sell Tommy Bahama.
Apparently.
Anyway, that's all. Your last one right here.
This is just a reminder to pick up this brand when you find it. I actually picked up 3 of these at the bins in the recent past. This one has been listed for a little while. I can tell by the mannequin. So it's probably been listed for, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months. But anything, Emeglago, I can never freaking say that name, Zegna. When you find a sports coat or a blazer or a jacket, if it has cashmere or camel hair, just pick it up. That's all I'm going to say. You don't have to pick up everything. Suits are a very hard sell, used suits especially, and a dress, part of a used suit. You don't want to pick up a sports coat that goes with pants You want to pick them up when they can be something worn alone like this. Somebody will wear this with jeans. They'll wear it with a pair of basic pants. That's a good brand to pick up. So I did pick this up at the bins. I probably paid $4 or $5 for it, and this also sold for $105.
Very nice. All right, my last one. It's funny that Vicky sold that Polo jeans flag sweater because I sold my Chaps Ralph Lauren swag.
Your swag?
Swag.
Your swag
flag sweater that I picked up
swag.
at the bins, and I was really excited about it. Anyway, this is another one that also sold on Depop, did not sell on eBay, but somebody offered me $75. I sold it for $75. It's a turtleneck sweater. I paid, it was a little bit heavier, so I probably paid $3, maybe $4 for it. But guys, I sold it for $75, and it's not even like, it had like a couple of flaws on it. Like it's got some marks. You can see the marks right here on the sleeve.
Meh.
So it had some issues, and somebody still paid $75 for it. And that's, you know, again, talking about Chaps. I talked about it on our video yesterday. That Chaps. That Chaps.
Ridiculous.
Chaps is not as desirable a brand now because it is now just a Kohl's brand, but it used to be a little cooler, and especially when you have stuff like this where it's got like a really nice big graphic like the flag on the front of it. So $75. Awesome little bins find, guys. Awesome little bins find. Anyway, yeah, we really got into that. We started the looking at our sales highlights at like 20 after, and I'm like, oh, we'll have plenty of time. But we had some, I feel like we had some good stuff. I feel like it is, you know, we do our haul videos and stuff, but I feel like Sunday is all about showing like, okay, here's what it's all about. All that stuff that you see us pick up, let's show you what actually happens when we sell it. And so I think this week between Vicky and myself, I think we had a really good mixture of items to kind of educate and hopefully
a good
give
selection.
you guys some ideas. But also apparently some of the stuff that I'm able to sell, Vicky isn't able to sell, and probably vice versa. So it's not always going to be the same for everybody. But
Ooh, Danica. Hey, yo.
Danica, what's happening, Danica? I miss you. I wish your face was in front of me right now.
Well, I'm fully excited. Okay, so we are 3 weeks out from the Reseller Remix, by the way, guys. It starts 3 weeks from tomorrow. Most of our friends are arriving in town probably 3 weeks from today-ish.
Yeah, or yesterday.
So we're really excited to see all of our friends, local and the ones that are traveling. If you have not purchased your ticket yet, I do suggest you do so. We will be shutting off ticket sales at some point before the event starts.
I mean, personally, I'll take cash at the door. But
I'm
just saying.
You won't have I mean, the thing is that, you know, we do have some organizing to do and make sure there's swag bags and everything in your name. We would appreciate sooner. But we are looking forward to seeing all of our friends. It's always a great time. Obviously, anytime when resellers get together and network, there are all kinds of things that come out of that, personally and professionally. Some of the best friends in my life have been made through reseller events, and I have lifelong dear friendships from meeting other resellers, and you know, and of course, we're all going to learn some stuff too.
That's very true. That's very true. But okay, let's talk about our goals and stuff. So I had titled this show, "Are We Ready for Q4?" And I mean, I feel like because Vicky and I have kind of like really gotten down to business the last couple of months, I feel like we're set to be okay for Q4. I think one of the issues, I mean, you have more stuff than you've ever had before. I have more stuff in my store than I've ever had before. I will say the little hiccup coming up is it's like, okay, now we've got to go out of town for a couple of days. Then we have the remix.
And that's an entire week of not being able to work.
And then we have plans to be gone for almost a week in November to go to Colorado.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
I know that we got stuff in December. So it's like I feel like I just wanted to kind of call attention to it. I feel like we're ready for it at this point, but I also feel like we've got some pitfalls ahead of us where if we aren't like really kind of deliberate about how we handle time away, we could kind of let it get away from us a little bit. And I don't want to do that. And I think we can avoid that if we kind of keep on top of it and like keep paying attention to what it is that we're trying to accomplish.
My biggest problem is that I do not have an employee anymore. So I do have someone that reached out to me because I wrote a video last week. I will be interviewing. We'll see. She's a reseller. That's obviously, so she saw the video. So I'm excited about that. She does work a full-time job. So I'm more concerned with whether she's going to actually have the time to fit it in and I think that's a lot to ask of someone that has a full-time job. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
But I also think that you, with the stuff that you're able to do yourself, you can keep going. And part of the problem you're like running into with having all this extra stuff be listed is you're like renting a room. So taking a little breather on the clothing for a few weeks at least, like you're starting to see, okay, some more stuff going out.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't listed a clothing article in a week, actually, but, because I've been listing every day. And I will say I got 98 listings done this week. I can't remember what I said I was going to do. I think I said 100. Darn close. I'm going to call that a goal I got. I also did 2 days of pictures, 2 half days of pictures. We know I hate taking
Including
pictures.
Today?
Yeah, and I'm finishing some when we finish here. So I did get 100 listings, and these are 100 from scratch for sure. These are not drafted listings that were done for me by anyone else because I do not have anyone doing drafts for me anymore right now. So I haven't, plus I sorted and went through all of everything that came from Colorado. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. Don't forget the 3 weeks it takes to decorate for Christmas. So we figured out, I think last year we had it down, and it should be easier this year because this will be our
4
second.
days.
It took 4 days last year. I think we might be able to do it a little bit faster this year because part of the thing that added time is it was our first time in this house for Christmas. And so, like, Vicky has a very set idea of, like, okay, this room's going to look like this. This room's going to look like that. So our old house, she had been there for 9 years. And so it was a lot faster to set things up. Whereas last year, it was like, okay, new canvas. So hopefully it won't take as long. But yes, it does take a good amount of time. So for my last week, I've been setting my goal every week at 50 listings, and I kind of want to stick to that because it is attainable and I can always go over. And so this week I did list 55 new items, but I also listed, I had 5 returns, guys, in like the last month that I kind of had let stack up. So 5 returns that I had to go in and actually list them again. I did sell similar. So those were 5 more listings. So really 60 listings. But then I also this week I did 20 delist and sell similar on stuff that's just at a year old. So that's a lot of like extra activity. We also had, we did do 2 videos, 2 pre-record videos. We had one come out on Monday or Tuesday, I think. And then one that came out yesterday. That's also been challenging because I'm having to, I need to keep going to the bins, but it's a little harder to like motivate myself because I got other stuff I could be working on, but I have to keep going to the bins and finding the time to do that now that Vicky's not doing as much. But we're going to keep pushing on.
I mean, I'll be back to the bins at some point, but I just don't see it happening for the next 4 to 8 weeks. I have so much stuff. There's no need for me to go, and when I need to have discipline, guys, I have discipline. Don't get me wrong. We all love to source. We all love to add to that, that profit pile, money pile, death pile. I don't care what the hell you call it. Mountain, whatever. All the same shit. Basically, your stack of crap that isn't listed yet. Yeah. So we all have that. Mine is just all the stuff from Colorado. Everything else in the house has been listed, and I've just started doing the Colorado stuff that I just brought home last week. So even though it is a big, huge pile of stuff, it is not a very old pile of stuff. So
this next week is going to be tough because we are going to be gone for a few days, and then we have eBay open, the virtual,
which we have to man virtually for like 8 hours each day.
So, I mean, we get to split it up between us, but it's going to be difficult, like, as far as, like, sourcing. Like, I don't know. Are we going to stop at a couple of thrift stores on the way tomorrow?
Maybe.
We got to stop in Kingman. We got to hit a couple of stores. Come on. So, the part that's going to be really hard is the sourcing part, and maybe we'll be able to get in a little bit of that, but who knows. And then the other part is going to be actually being able to get the listing in.
I'm only going to say 50 listings for myself this week.
I'm going to say 50, but I think it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to do.
3 days, the next 3 days we can't list.
I am going to do
and I'm not going to get any listed today, so that means 4 days without listing.
I am going to do the 10 listings every day, ending sell similar, because that's an easy thing to do. It takes me 5 minutes, if that. And so I am going to do that with my eBay. So hopefully that will help. We're going to have to do 1 day that we go to 2 day shipping for like 1 day. But yeah, it's going to be a tougher week to hit those numbers, but I think we're going to try to
make it happen. I just realized we got to do 2 day shipping. I shouldn't have sent out offers today.
It's not. It's a 1 day thing. Don't worry about it too much. Yeah, it should be okay. So that's what we're going to try to do, guys. We're going to try to keep things moving, even though we've got all this other stuff going on. That's the hardest thing about this business is stuff comes up. It's easy when things are just moving along.
Or would you have people that just do stuff for you? And I think
Yeah.
that, you know, not very many people watching this have, you know, full-time employees, but there's a few people that have helpers or part-time employees, and all of that is great, but unless you have somebody like Ryan and Allie have Callie, who can and does do everything when
Yeah.
they're not available or when they need to take off or when they're on vacation or when they're doing an event of some sort. Most of us don't have someone that handles everything soup to nuts. And, you know, it's a challenge. That's all.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Well, I mean, yeah, anytime like things are not the normal routine, it makes it more difficult. But Kathleen, why do you regret living in Tucson now? Because there's a rattlesnake out in the courtyard, and I'm not okay with that.
I would be no thank you.
No, thank you. But yes, Lori, we definitely do all need a Callie. Who doesn't need a Callie? Come on.
Well, I had Crystal, who was just as good as Callie, if not better, in my opinion. Even though she didn't do all of the
Why
things
do we
for
have to
me.
pit them against each other? They're both amazing.
That's true.
Jeez.
That's true.
How rude. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. I got to take some pictures because I don't have anything to list. And I know that we're leaving tomorrow, and then we have eBay, all that stuff. I know I'm not going to have time to take any pictures past today for this week, so it's got to happen today.
Same.
So that's what I'm doing next, because I do think, like, at some point, even during, like, the virtual eBay, like, I'm going to be able to do some new listings. It's
But we
gonna have
can
to
list
happen.
while we're doing that.
It's
We're
gonna
gonna have two screens open, and we're not gonna have people in the virtual booth at all times.
So I got to get that stuff ready today.
we may have to be in there, but we don't. I know we're not
Yeah.
gonna have people in there all the time.
But anyway, guys, please, we have another video that's going to be coming out. I'll probably schedule it to come out Tuesday, and then we'll have one towards the end of the week probably at some point. But hey, come if you're doing virtual, come and hang out with us in our booth so we're not bored. Come, we can even
Look
list
for
together.
the
Who
boss.
knows?
Look for the Boss Reseller Remix
Yeah, what's with this little
room. I don't know. Whatever.
Anyway, guys, thank you. Definitely enjoy.
Simon.
Hey, Simon.
We will see you Tuesday.
Absolutely. So we're looking forward to seeing some of you guys in person, and then come and hang out with us virtually. That's what we love, is hanging out with our community members, fellow community members. We love you guys, and we will see you soon.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.